Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Uncolored podcast by Bestie. It's your girl, Venita Akpofure, and today we are going to be discussing something, that might be a bit sensitive, but you might be able to relate to it. We are going to be discussing spirituality, religion, and Japa culture. And we're going to be talking about how it differs from being at home and being abroad. Nigerians are traditionally known to be very, very religious people. But abroad, is it done with the same ginger? Joining me today, I don't have gongs and I don't have the big cymbals, but I would love to clash them. The gentleman next to me is a man of huge affluence. I met him at the Bestie launch, and I think he kept it chill for me a little bit. I was like, hi, I'm, PK. But he is Pastor Olakunle Shion, and he's sitting right next to me. He is an international world best-selling author. And apart from that, he's just a mentor to so many people, and you are responsible for touching lives every day.
Thank you.
Welcome. It is an honor to have you here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And also joining me, I have Mr. Deji Onadeko. He's also my chairman, no, let me just cast him here. He's the creative director of Red Lantern Media, and he is a media mogul. He has been a creative director, a producer, and just an all-round entertainment mogul. Welcome to the show, and thank you for coming on.
Pleasure's all mine.
I will try and behave.
We got this.
But yes, this is not a safe space for you.
Want to Japa but stuck at the starting line? Meet Vesty. Get a US green card if you have a master's degree, access to loans and savings accounts, and enjoy full support for your school or work visa. We handle your banking and visa support fast and easy. Go with Vesty.
First of all, I just want to talk about, our country and our relationship with religion. We're popularly known for it. Our churches are huge. We have so many. However, when you get outside of the country, it's not quite the same. Why do you think that is?
Okay, so should I take that?
Yes, please.
So part of what has happened is that the culture from geography to geography is different. And the way we interpret faith and spirituality essentially is sensitive to the culture, right? The perception of spirituality in a first world country where you have very low infrastructural challenges, amenities work, there's prosperity relatively for anyone that is willing to work and to dream, right? People have the attention their individuality deserves. They have the respect that individuality deserves, right? People can plan. There's predictive exchange. If you say you are closing work at 5, you are closing at 5, right? You could manage your life better. A lot of the challenges that define some other geographies don't exist there. So the claim on what God does in this society is relative. So when somebody is seeking the help of God here, he's talking about things that governments fix in some other countries.
Yes.
He's talking about things that human beings take care of in other countries. So if you bring the devil to the American, and he has a different definition of the devil. So the devil himself is very smart. When he looks at the United States, what would you attack these people with? Freedom. You can't, there's nothing else to use. Over here, people have a wrong idea about growth because we've been lied to for such a long time. So when you are here, it seems you are more spiritual, but you are not spiritual. Spirituality is not drama. The ability to jump, to make noise, to fast, to do all of those spiritual exercises, do vigil, it's not spirituality. You see, the more spiritual you are, the more relatable you should become. Spirituality is about connectedness. When you are spiritual and you cannot show proof of that spirituality with products, with services, with systems, with structures, with ideologies, philosophy, God that talks to you somehow as a way of recycling mediocrity in your life, and that is God, I think it's silly, right? So what happens to the guys in America is they live in an environment that is filled with excellence. So by the time you say God is helping you there, it has to be something really amazing, really awesome, because people who don't go to church are building kingdoms, are creating power. So by the time you get there with all your drama, just realize that there is a sense of ease here. Everything you prayed about are systemic in this country. So what you are going to do is to either drop the ball, because that environment now places a true demand on your perception of your spirituality.
Right.
So when you don't have all the needs around you anymore, everything seems to be sorted, then you want to ask yourself why you are serving God, because the God you are serving at home is welfare sensitive. In other words, as Pastor said, when you see Bill Gates, how do you preach to him? What are you going to say? This is your year, or you will make it. Or what do you say to Elon?
Yes.
Elon, you are going to make it. Or this is your year.
They definitely didn't integrate
so
that as...
I think that's what happens. You come into an environment where everything works, all of a sudden you have no prayer point again. You can see the value of the God that you have known that is sensitive to welfare economics. You're in another country where your commitment to God has to be true and authentic, because it has nothing to do with all the pain and discomfort that you have known where you are coming from. God where you are coming from is economics. God where you are is heart.
I think it's crazy that you say that.
Yeah.
Because you then say that in advanced countries, one of the things that the devil uses to attack them is freedom. Crazy, because when you then think about it, one of the reasons why we on this end, I mean, in absolute addition to what you said, one of the reasons why we on this end seem a lot more religious is because we also have been trained to not ask questions, right? Everybody just needs to, that's how it works, don't wear trousers as a lady, okay? You have to go to church 7 times a day, okay? You have to resume at church from Monday to Friday, and it's okay for you to be mediocre, okay? So somehow our culture as I don't want to use the word, our culture as followers, we are aligners. We just align. It's just okay, right? He's the Oba, is the Oba's job is that when the Oba dies, there's 7 other people that they bury with him. Okay, and when spirituality then came, when I came as religion and spirituality, at the time, it was easier for you to settle as religion than as spirituality, because it meant something that already sponsored, which was probably what, the colonial masters were going for. I mean, because when they came with the conversation of religion, whether, I might be digressing a bit, but whether religion came as a function of slave trade or whatever, this truth is, it came with the truth, which was Christianity, which was Jesus Christ, depending on what you believe. I mean, my case I do, which was the truth, but it also was easy for those who wanted to use it for evil to arm it, to use it as our own opium, to get high, get excited.
So I really believe that the Christianity that came to Africa was flawed. It wasn't us that were using it. It came with an intention. Right? But just because arm robbers wear trainers doesn't mean everyone wearing trainers and arm robber. So the fact of the fake is also the relevance of the original. So that it came with the fake also shows that there's an original somewhere, because you really can't have what is fake except that you validate the original automatically, right? Now, a lot of what we know ourselves to be is not who we were actually. Part of the problem we have in Africa is that our stories were not told by people who look like you and I.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of lies embedded in our history, right? We were better than we know for ourselves now. And the idea that 7 people died with a king, looks bizarre to the 21st century mind, but at the time is honor, is the highest level of respect and love that our king, we go with the king, we travel with the king, right? And people were ready to bury themselves. It doesn't make sense to us today because we're looking at it with our modern mind. But at the time, it wasn't that people were stupid or people were being controlled. It was a voluntary commitment. There were people whose exercises was to do that. what has happened to Africa is that when the white man of that time came, not the white man of today, but when the white man of the time came, he took our education and gave us the classroom. And we don't learn in the classroom. We learn through apprenticeship and observation. We tell stories, we had proverbs that instruct our future. We were a rich people with heritage and culture and pride, right? And the religious context of Christianity is a symposium discussion. I'm a Christian, right? And I believe in the credibility of the faith that I profess, but I also sit in the innocence of the person who was born without a Christian context. I was born into a Christian home. It's easy for me to arrive at the launching of our Lord Jesus Christ. Some people don't have that context at all. And we survived. Don't forget, we had street lights before Europe had one. We were bathing with soap before Europe had one. We had musical instruments. We had so many things. We had the university first.
Makeup, medicine.
We had so many things that did not start from Europe, right? Our ancestors were kings, for people of pride. Gold used to be nothing to our people. We put gold on our dogs. We put gold on our pets. You know, the average African. You know, the greatest wall ever built in human history is not the Great Wall of China.
It's
the Wall of Benin.
Yes.
Benin Wall. It's not the Great Wall of China.
Yes.
Think about it as massive as that, right? So, in trying to define our history, we have to decide what history do you want to talk about? The one that was written for us or the one that was really us, right? So there's a conditioning though. Slave trade, colonialism, are experiences we did not imagine. They happened. And they gave us a different type of mentality. So when people say us as Africans, I always say, which us? The one before the white man came or the one after the white man left? Because when you look at it, we were good at a lot of things. Where we were weakest is where our people think we are strongest now. We were not violent people. That's why they came and took us out. We were not violent people. We were not advanced militarily. We were advanced in many other areas. If we were not, what was the white man doing in our land, right? So, but let's be clear, I don't judge the white man of the 2000s, right? It wasn't the one we were contending with, you know, but a lot has left us and a lot we have received. Part of that conditioning is a conditioning of weakness. Don't forget that a group of people were taken out of Africa, right? Those who were being taken out of Africa for slave trade were the able-bodied people, were the strong people.
Yeah,
that was the beginning of brain drain. It was the best Africans that were being taken.
And they were taken from all over.
From all
the
over.
Central Basin.
Exactly.
Which is now probably known as Benin Republic.
Do you understand?
So the only thing that would actually even bind you together was to have a faith, like a faith that incorporated maybe some of the culture, which then was the birth of the African American culture. But yes, the mentality was changed. So imagine now you're there. Well, obviously, thank God that's not our time. But the gods that you have traditionally been raised to worship, they've not rescued you from the situation. And this white man is coming across as very powerful, very domineering. You start to believe in his God more than your God. You start to pray, and that's the only
it looks as if your God isn't saving you anyways.
Yeah. So
because God doesn't save that way.
Okay.
That's the problem. God doesn't save that way. Right? There are things God doesn't do. God is not going to help you cough. God is not going to help you use the restroom. It doesn't matter how anointed you are. It doesn't matter how much God loves you. Right? It's not going to help you poo. It's not going to help you eat. If you don't eat, you're going to starve to death. And God will receive you as a foolish but faithful servant. So God doesn't solve problems in the way people think He solves problems. And the beginning of that is to understand that He has to be a transgressor to make something and not put a demand on it. No manufacturer produces without putting a demand on his production. So it gave you a brain, for God's sake. And I tell people, the human brain is your most spiritual organ. Your brain is more spiritual than your spirit. You have to understand that. In terms of association with God, your spirit is closer. But in terms of functioning with men, because there's vertical exchange, which is you and God. There's horizontal exchange, which is you and man. So in your vertical exchange, your spirit is superior. But in your horizontal exchanges, your spirit needs your brain. Think about it. If your spirit is dead, you can still be a billionaire. There are people who are not born again, who don't go to any church, who don't go to mosque, who don't serve anybody, who are atheists, and they are billionaires. They're making a lot of money. They are supposed to be dead in their spirit, but they are not spiritually alive, so to say. But they are very rich. They employ you, the Christian. You are glad to take their salary every month, right? So you can still survive. You can be a lot in this world, even if your spirit is dead. You can be the Olympic champion. You can be the enterprise king. You can be the president of America, of Nigeria. You can be anything. Or if your brain is dead,
You can't be anything.
you are useless to God. You are useless to the devil. You are useless to, even the devil has no use for you. Well, the advantage the devil has over you is that you are useless. So if your brain is dead, how powerful is your spirit? So can you see how foolish it is for you to say you serve a God and you want to suspend your thinking? It's a God-given brain. So when your spirit is alive, the proof of it is evidence in what your brain is doing. If your brain is not working, you can't tell me God is with you and you are poor. No, you're foolish. It's not a spiritual thing. You need to start using your brain. People are foolish, you know. Handsome fools. Really dumb. It's just the way it is. There are people who go to church, empty minds, all the same. Right? The idea about modernism and development has to do with the full application of the human faculty, including your brain. And when you now say you have a God on top of that, you should be going to the moon. You should be building the next level of merchant banking. You should be showing us the next level of the internet. So when God is with you, your level of production should be at the highest level. Like I said, once you don't understand that concept, you just blew everything out. You know, when it comes to going to another country, let me tell you something about Nigerians. Nigerians don't live in America. Nigerians don't live in London, don't live in Canada. Nigerians live in Nigeria inside America. They live in Nigeria inside London. They live in Nigeria inside the United Kingdom. That's true for Africa as a whole, right? Because what you do is small playing small. You go to a foreign country, you look for people who look like you. You seek what in physics is something called sympathetic resonance. That's what you are seeking. And so, but when you look at powerful ideas like colonialism, slave trade, these are very evil ideas, but they worked. They produced for the agenda owners, right? When the white man came here to Africa, he also Japa, right? From his own country. That's what I'm saying. He came here. When he came, there were white people here. He didn't go look for his fellow white people. Who did he look for? You. He looked for your ancestors. People who don't look like him, who don't talk like him. And in his mind, I will dominate these people. Now, I'm not asking us to dominate our fellow human beings, but if you don't have a mentality of a king, and you find yourself in another country, you're still going to be a well-dressed, comfortable slave. Whichever way.
So you're saying in other countries it's very easy. There are still people who look like they have everything put together, but their spirit is lost, essentially. The essence of, their purpose and who God put them in this world to be is gone.
Yes.
It's also how, because of how Africa, Nigeria to be precise in this context, this is me just trying to totally understand what you said. It's also how Nigeria, already made you feel lucky because of how bad things are. So you go there and you are okay with the barest minimum.
You are too grateful.
So grateful you don't try anymore. And then, despite that, the average that you are there is, simply because it is better than here, you settle for that average, and that's just okay for you.
And don't forget, America in particular is a country designed for only one type of person. Once you are not that person, you are either going to become a victim, a casualty, or a slave. America is only built for dreamers. Now, what I just said is true even for America. If you come into the United States, you are either going to be, if you're not a dreamer, you are going to become a slave or a victim or casualty of some
That's how you
sort.
get into the rat race, eh?
America is not a natural country. It's an artificial country. It was made by human beings, right? They made the laws, they did all they needed to do to create this amazing, powerful system, okay? And they said, we will reward every iota of dream that is resident in the human condition, that if anyone, the son of nobody, can dream, we identify you by your character of dreaming, not by your last name or the school you have been to. If you can dream, you will rise. They call it the American dream for a reason, right? So the idea is that people leave Nigeria without dreams. They are going to the United States, whether with a billion gods or with their foolishness. They are going there with the mentality of survival.
Yeah, I was going to say survival.
And no human being can pursue you more than you see. Once what you see is comfort, you will attain it very quickly. At 200 million naira, you're a very comfortable person. Except that you don't have $1 million.
You know,
At 500 million naira, you live by the beach in Lekki.
You know.
You travel abroad for summer. You fly business class.
Okay.
You have 2 German cars. You change them every 2 years. People respect you.
yeah.
But you are a bloody one-eyed king in the land of the blind. Because the strength of a material is in its universal appeal. A shoe has to be a shoe in every economy. You can't be a shoe in Nigeria and be a jacket in Brazil because it cross border. If you are a millionaire, you can't be a millionaire in Naira and be a thousandaire in pounds. You were never a millionaire. It's the blindness and the darkness of your environment that strengthened that fabric that you call value. So it is the darkness in your environment that defined how special you are. By universal standards, you are still a local fabric seeking space, right? So when we mature, you want to pass the test of universality, not the test of locality. Yeah. Because you can pass the test of locality because fools praise you. You know, if 1 million fools say you are wise, you are very popular by the standard of fools, right? So if 5 billion lunatics say nobody's normal but you, will you rejoice? 5 billion lunatics? You'll be the captain of lunatics. Right? There are so many. So a nice watch in any country. When you are tall, you are tall. If you are fair, you are fair. If you are dark, you are dark. No matter the country you find yourself in. That's the universality of ideas, right? So if you are a king, you should be a king anywhere you find yourself. Let's be clear. In America, as you guys know, you see white people begging on the street.
Yes.
There are beggars in every country. There's a prison. There are prisons in every country. It means there are fools there.
Yeah.
Before anybody went there, the Americans are in jail too,
Yeah.
right? There's a police force in every country. That means people are stupid as well, right? So these things are the wretchedness of the human condition.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what country you go through, foolishness is a constant. The beauty of exchange is that somebody must be foolish for wisdom to continue to have value at all, right?
Yeah.
So I am not bothered about who has made that choice for foolishness. The growth of life is the choice for wisdom. And when you come to America, if you leave Nigeria, I think some people have to leave this country. That is the exodus of the human experience. People move, people travel, people do stuff. If people didn't move, we wouldn't have anything going on in the world.
Not want to?
It's not okay to not want to. It's okay to know what your destiny is and to follow it. If your destiny written for you is to go, you have to go. You can't say, I want to stay here because I love it here. You are going to suffer because you are like a fish out of water. This is not what you are built for. You are built for the universe, right? I am built for the world. I'm not built for Nigeria. I'm not built for America. I'm a global citizen. I have to rove my energy and my content across the globe, right? I know what I feel when I find myself in any geography, but I am sent to the minds of every human being born of a woman anywhere, whether they are black, green, yellow, white, doesn't matter. I recognize that. Some people have ideas that must go to the world, and their body does not need to follow that idea. The idea needs to go by itself, right? Some people have ideas that will go to the world, their body needs to follow it and be coming back. Some have ideas that must go to the world, that their body needs to go with the idea and go and live with it there. And some don't have ideas that should go to the world at all. maybe their job is not to scale Amala within the western part of Nigeria. Maybe. Whatever your idea is, know it and to it be true.
But I have to ask, I mean, you're speaking with so much conviction. I don't even think I've attained this level of conviction or confidence in myself. So when did you, how did you know you were that person? And how are you able to identify the difference between people who need to go forward with their ideas and those who need to send their ideas forward?
Yeah, so it wasn't like this for me. I used to be a fool.
Doesn't look like it, so like you get senses.
It wasn't so.
You just came out like, boom, I'm an author.
People think so, you know. I spent 12 years in the university studying a 4-year course.
Wow.
12 years. At the end of 12 years, I got a bachelor's degree and it was a podcast. It was a miracle. So.
Was it a strike or?
No.
He was the one striking.
I was a fool. Have you met confident ignorance before?
Yes, I have.
That you don't know anything, but you're not aware.
Because in your mind, you know everything.
You don't know anything, but you're not aware that you don't know anything. So
you
carry your ignorance with a lot of class and swag.
Okay.
But you're a fool all the same. That's why I was. Right? I was social. I was known. I had money. I dressed well.
You were popular.
I was popular.
Okay.
You know, and I've tasted everything from chewing gum to cocaine.
Oh,
I was in the cold, I had a gun. I lived a very silly life.
It was a very colorful life.
By the time I was in my 400 level, supposed to be final year, I had 52 carryovers.
How did you
I had 52 courses I was here to pass. So I wasn't going to graduate. I'm going to be in school forever, obviously. So 2 months to final exam, I had to leave the school. And it was a shame. My mom was really very sad. People were broken. People cursed me. I didn't care. And then after a while, I used to salivate uncontrollably. I would drool. I wouldn't even know. Somebody has to tell me, hey, get yourself together. Drugs. It was bad. I never smoked cigarette in my life. I never drank alcohol. Not because I didn't want to or friends were not doing it. It was too weak for the turmoil going on in my head. So I was doing marijuana and above. Nothing I'm proud of, but that was my situation. I came back to school after 1 year to start year 1 all over again. Same school, same faculty, same course, same lecturers, kids for classmates. And I did another 4 years. The school will still give me my degree. Remember I did the first 4? And another 4.
No, we're on to 8.
So I did another 4 years again. And at the end of 12 years, so that is 4 years for the normal human being. If you then have another master's on that, that's 2 years, making 6 years. If you run an MBA on that, another 2 years, making 8 years. And if you run a PhD on that, let's say 3 years or 4 years, that's 12 years. So at the end of 12 years, you have a BSc, master's, MBA, and a PhD. But at the end of 12 years, I got a bachelor's. Clearly, I wasn't smart. If I was, I shouldn't waste all my time like that. And I gave my life to Christ. I gave my life to Christ in my bedroom. What didn't happen in church, my bedroom. And I would say that I went mad. Literally. I gave my life to Christ. And I wish I gave my life to something else, to be honest. If it was Oromila, I gave it to loyalty today. Because that day in my bedroom, a lot of things had led to that moment. But in that moment, the prayer that I prayed was, God, I just want peace.
I mean, for context, I'm just wondering how old we were at that age.
At that age, I think I was 22 or 23.
Wow.
Yeah. And I said, you know, God, if you are here, I need help now. I'm going to my wit's end. Context, my mom just left the room. She had come in and she cursed. You know, every time my mom cursed me, I was grateful. Because she could have done worse. For the thing I've done, you should have poisoned me to have been fair. To curse me was a gift. So I wasn't even pissed at all, but she came in, she said so many things. But the last thing she said, crying, was that, why don't you just start reading the Bible? If you can just start reading the Bible, maybe God will help you. And for the first time in my life, I heard that. I heard it. So when she left the room, there was a Bible actually on the table, the New American Standard Version Bible, and I picked it up. And when I picked it up, it fell out of my hand. So I knelt, I sat on the floor to pick it up. But by the time I went close to it, it had opened to the book of Ecclesiastes. I remember what started that book is vanity upon vanity. All is vanity. 12 chapters, right there on the floor. I read it 1 to 12. First time, second time, almost like 6 times. And I prayed, God, a peace came over me. And that was it. From that moment, I think something happened to my brain. And okay, I should also say that I passed common entrance in primary 4. So I was in secondary school at the age of 9. So I guess something was there for me to pass common entrance in primary 4 and be in secondary school at the age of 9 and be done at the age of 14 in secondary school. I was smart, but I guess life took it. But in that moment, I think something was restored and it was restored better. And I journeyed from there to where I am now, creating all that I've created. So that's how I found myself here. God helped me.
That's an amazing story.
Thank you.
That's really something. So you are very well traveled, and like I said, you are a mentor to so many people from all over the world, not just one place. You obviously started meeting people when you were traveling, etc. How, what are people most drawn to you for? What lessons do you find as a mentor that you're giving out mostly to your mentees that come in from other countries, especially with launching, businesses here or working here or even relocating back?
It's a lot. There's so much part to that question. It's a very big question, right?
Okay, we'll just pick one section.
Yes,
if you like.
there's so much.
Sorry, just to add the question a little bit, right?
You pardon me?
Yeah, just a bit, tiny bit, right? Which is, what's the difference between, if there is at all, right? The difference between mentoring Nigerians and mentoring non-Nigerians.
Yes.
Is there peculiarities, is there difference to that experience?
No, actually. Because I found some of the most brilliant people in the world are Nigerians. So again, who is a Nigerian? You can't answer that question. You meet a Nigerian that is an amazing representation of foolishness. You meet another Nigerian that is, buzzing with so much intelligence and wisdom. I meet them every time. The people who somehow created a bad image that Nigeria has are the minority, actually. The problem of good in Nigeria is we don't know how to tell our story. So good in Nigeria is weak. And good people don't know how to represent their own story and present their own narratives. So the negatives sell more. I know more great Nigerians than I know bad Nigerians, but that's not what the perception says, right? So I've met very, very extremely ignorant, naive white people. I've met like I said, white people are in prison all over the world. It means they are foolish white people. Yeah. So this thing has nothing to do with geography. It has nothing to. I've seen foolishness in every country. There's no country I have been, I've not seen foolishness, stupidity, naivety. People are silly. I've seen that. And you've seen wisdom represented as well. Right? So it depends on who you are interacting with. What is wrong here is a mindset, and it was installed. And we need to help people to uninstall it. And that's part of the job that we do. Right? So for me, as I move around the world, I enjoy the beauty of the diversity that I experience with people. Yeah. When I first started traveling out of Nigeria, and I get into, say, a car abroad, and the white guy is driving, and he's just talking. I don't want to talk. I don't feel like talking. But I listen. I just listen. And initially, I thought I was being kind. I thought I was being tolerant. I was being nice. And I would listen and I would listen. Then one day, I can't remember where I was in the world, but I was in a car. A white guy was driving and he was talking to me and I wanted to work, but I was listening to him. And I had things to do, I was listening to him. And I felt the Holy Spirit spoke to me very quietly that, you have very cool low self-esteem. I mean, come on. I don't know if that you do. Because if you change who is driving this car down to Salau or to Kechuku, or even to your mom, even to your sister, your brother, you will shut that person up right now. You will say, excuse me, I'm trying to do some work here. Can you just drive? That's what you will say. Why do you listen to this guy? And before I could answer, I said, it's white. It's white. It's the white that this guy is that is making you to endure all of this. If you change this guy's color to black and you change his name to somebody from your hometown, even if he's 80 years old, you will shut him up right now. So what is it in you that allows this movement? And I realized that it's complex. It's inferiority complex. So the next car that I got into, I was ready. So true to it, the guy was going to, excuse me, I'm really trying to work. I appreciate that you want to talk, but I don't want to talk. So if you don't mind, can you just drive? So and that was the beginning of a freedom for me. Now, so many Nigerians also don't have that level of self-recognition. And you find yourself out and you just allow so many things that you wouldn't allow ordinarily. It's not easy to wake up in the morning and nobody looks like you. You wake up in the morning, there are 200 people who don't look like you, and you're learning everything new. If you're not careful, there's a complex that brings to you. So when I talk to our people, I talk to their royalty. I remind them that you are kings and queens, and you have heritage, and you have history.
You have roots.
And you have roots, and you have to remind yourself of where you are coming from, so that you can manifest your crown anywhere you find yourself.
I love that. So again, like I said, you're very well traveled. And you said something key, which is that somebody who is actually very spiritual is actually very relatable. So naturally, you would have to relate with so many different types of people across the world. Now, traditionally, our traditional Christianity in Nigeria frowns upon a lot of different things that are quite modern and quite accepted today. I'm guilty, for example, I'll be here, I'll know something, I'll pray, Father Lord, please help me sort things out. Like you said, it is for sustenance. And then when you're abroad, you're not really mindful of that. And you're just like, did I remember to pray today? Oh, that's bad, that kind of thing. When you see a man and another man holding hands, being intimate, coming down the street, I rebuke, so...
Coming down the street is fine, walking down the aisle.
I mean, come down the street, walking down the aisle, but you get the drift of what I'm saying.
Yes. So
I want to know how you maneuver around all these things that are norm in other societies, but not necessarily norm here. Like, how did your mind go from, like you said, being 22 and crying out to God to change your life and to manifesting your life to where you are now?
Yes. So there's something I call creative rebellion. And there's something I call adventure capital.
Okay.
You need both of them running in your life. Now, I understand a lot of people don't know what I know. So I'm not, people close to me know I don't know how to judge anything. I don't judge any human being, because you must always remember not to confuse what is easy for you to do for what is easy to do at all. A lot of things are easy for you because of the graces of your life, your exposure and all of that. It doesn't make those things easy
for someone
it's just easy for you, right? And if you're not careful, you will judge the people around you, those who work for you, your friends, by the energy of your own ease. And to be so unfair, right? So I say this guardedly and respectfully, I've walked a different journey, and God has blessed me to be alive to share the lessons of my history, right? But what I've found with those two words is that there must be something in you that respect everything coming at you, but that is bold enough to question it, and to not just take things because they are presented or offered. You take things because they align with the journey that you are walking.
Okay.
Right? So I've gone to school, I'm educated, but there are so many things I know were useless that I went to school. And today, you will have to be God to force me into any room to qualify. And we never sit in any room to qualify again. Whether it's a university, it doesn't matter. The first person that certified people, who certified him? That's the guy I am.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy that is certified. I'm the guy who, that's where I want to function, from 0 to 1, if you get what I mean.
Yes, I guess.
Not 1 to infinity.
Yes, it's a winner's mindset. It's a king mindset.
So as I go around the world, I find different cultures. You have to be respectful of people's culture, people's tradition. I respect your right to be an individual. I value your right to be wise. I also have tremendous respect for your choice to be foolish if you choose to. If I really respect you, I will not respect you only for your wisdom. I respect you for your choice to be foolish as well. I expect the same to be done to me. You are free to advise me. You can't insist on anything in my life. Born free, I'll die free. That's
the caption gems that you're looking for. My Instagram feed. Loading.
Right. So where I am, when you go out to the world, a lot will come at you. You meet them.
Yeah.
I have gay friends. I have gay business associates and partners. I don't agree with what defines them.
Of course.
But that does not mean, because I don't know who built the hotel I'm going to sleep in tonight.
I get what you mean.
I don't know the kind of things they believe, right? I don't know if the last people who slept in my room came with 10 girls and had sex all night. I don't know. I don't know if somebody brought 2 human heads into that room, but I'm going to sleep there tonight.
Imagination is wild. I'm just like, it's so colorful.
I'm not going to ask those questions. So that's the way I look at life.
Okay.
Right? I have an agenda in the world. I think every human being should live with their own agenda and face their own script. So face front, know what you're about, and stay on your lane. Right? Let everybody play and take their roles in whatever it is you're doing. The intelligence to recognize that you are different. You will not be rewarded for your similarities. You'll be rewarded for your difference. Honor your difference, embrace your own story, trust the future, and keep moving. And once you understand that, you're able to communicate your faith with love. So I would never tell a Muslim that you are going to hell. I don't do those things. What I do is, because it's easy for me to say, so this guy was born a Muslim, he doesn't know anything about Christianity. Why do you want to judge him by that standard? I know that's not how God is looking at him. God is going to give him all his fair chances to find his own redemption, no matter how I judge him. Yeah. So the way I think that evangelism should be done is through a word I call culture shaping. And to shape culture is manifest at the highest level possible and let your results unlock the humility and the curiosity of people to pursue your source.
Okay.
So if you don't show the kind of results, so when I show up in places, I'm not trying to tell you who I am or who my God is. Yes. I just want to manifest. When I manifest, it will unlock your humility to want to know my source.
Yes.
That is when I talk about Jesus. What I put out is the effect of Jesus. When you feel the effect and you come close to ask about this effect, and I tell you.
Yeah, it makes the connection more authentic.
Yeah, it makes it more authentic. It keeps you true and it keeps you respectful.
Yeah.
You don't just throw your faith in front of people. It's disrespectful. In the name of evangelism, you are being cocky and arrogant.
Do you think that's a Nigerian behavior?
It's something I had to grow into as well. I don't think Nigerians don't think that way. Culturally, we don't think that way. But again, I've schooled myself to not define the Nigerian.
To unlearn.
Until we can ask which Nigerian, because there's no Nigeria in the world. So I don't say Nigerians behave like that, because Nigerians don't behave like that. We don't even know who Nigerians are, because there's no natural Nigerian. Nigeria was a creation, right? I'm a Yoruba man, so when we created an entity that we have all chosen to believe in. So how do you define us in that regard? So there are people who don't think straight in Nigeria. They're amazing, just like the police force. I fight for the police force in there, because some of the most kind people I've met are police officers in Nigeria. So when I look at the reputation of the police force, I'm like, wow, these guys are so misrepresented.
So you're quite empathetic towards them.
Yes, and that's the way I look at the person who is drinking or on drugs or who is gay or who doesn't look like me. Those sentiments don't define me. Otherwise, they become prejudices very quickly, and they begin to judge people by your own standard, right? So I function with people, like I said, when you are spiritual, it is evident in your relatability.
Yes.
The more spiritual you are, the more relatable you become. But a substance must be inside you that goes out there to diffuse the flavor of your difference, as opposed to taking what is out there and compromising your own difference.
Okay.
So whether I'm in America, I'm in England, I know who I am, I know what I'm about. And that is the difference that I bring.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know who you are, people will sell an understanding to you. It's not what they do intentionally, it's just default. Right? So the Christian faith is a very interesting faith. It's the most tolerant quality in the whole world. And people miss that part. And we just want to judge and tell people who they should be and who they should not be. God is strong enough to fight for himself. Manifest, and God will speak.
Listen, I just wish I had a pen. Like, I feel like
don't worry, I'm just like...
You should have given these to me blank. Yes, I should have been jotting notes. I'm really, really honoured. I'm learning as I'm here. Sorry, those of you that are looking at my face like, why is she gazing like that? I am learning. But yes, well, I want to go back to when you were in the car with the driver and you had the voice on your shoulder. So I just wanted to ask for you, because I would say I wouldn't say I'm necessarily strong in faith, but I came into know God for the first time, funnily enough, in Nigeria. So, we went to church all the time in the UK. My mom and dad would drag me left and right. One person believed in being Roman Catholic Christian. The other person believed in going to Pentecostal church. So on Sundays, my parents, on Sundays, we wake up early, scrub up, and go to Roman Catholic church first. Then we will leave. After arranging all the hymn books and all of those things, like sometimes one of us is even serving as
this is not even in Nigeria.
No, this is not in Nigeria. So it's cold, it's in the morning, like the priest is seeing to his angry that it's cold, it's in the morning, but he can't say it to you. Then you now leave and enter car and go 2 hours on Sunday traffic to Deptford to go to, I can't remember what the name of the church is. I'm even glad I don't remember. You'll now be there 3 hours. First hour, you sit down next to your mom, try not to fall asleep, then they'll send you to Sunday school. We will enter the house at like 4 p.m. So my experience of any kind of spirituality or God was conditioning, I would say. Not that I understood what I was doing. They put coloring books in front of us, so they gave us like...
Paint Joseph.
I paid to Mary and Joseph Taya. I even perform as Mary and I wrote my Jesus. So, but it just... I didn't have that connection. My first intimate connection with him was actually in Lagos, and it took me aback. And it was in a moment, similar to yours, where it's just you and 4 walls. And you're like, please, what's going on? But sometimes I can't really tell whether it's my mind playing a trick on me or it's the spirit. But it's very important, like, even though my conditioning was not necessarily simple and straightforward, I was glad to come into my own relationship, and that definitely helped me grounded through hard times. So what I feel for some people as well, not necessarily from a negative angle, as though yes, usually, you are in a fix when you are lamenting, but a lot of people have a lot of questions that they don't have answers to over here. And the faith is just what allows them to keep going every day and not fall into depression or to keep your spirit up. Yeah. So you would have noticed this, Nigerians all around the world, you cannot bring us down. Like, we will cry, but we do not let up. And I think that is a beautiful thing to carry over. And yes, we're all Christians here, and that's something I try to carry over into my children. However, modern Christianity, I'll be honest, there are people that don't go to church, but are very connected to the Spirit. Some people even have more of a connection when they go away or strictly online. What would you still describe that person as?
Of course.
You know, somebody who is spiritually rooted?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. It's
because some people make you feel like, oh, you didn't go to, it's not by online, How many tithes did you pay? Or, you know, how many Sundays did you show up? I didn't see you shaking. Like, people have a measure.
They do, but all those measures usually are human standards. Right? And I always tell people, you know, when your maturity arrives, one of the things you have to master very quickly is the irrationality of the human condition. Mm-hmm. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, there will be somebody that will hit your guts. When I was much younger, I used to think that I have to do something wrong for people not to like me or people to beef me. As I grew older, I realized that people can actually beef you for doing what is right. People can beef you
deflecting off their own issues. Right. Yeah.
Right. So, should you go to church? Yes, the Bible is clear. Don't forsake the assembly of the saints. Now, is that every Sunday? The Bible did not say so. Is that once a month? The Bible did not say so. So the guy who goes to church physically, offline, once a month, and takes 3 services, 3 Sundays, online, is he forsaking the assembly of the saints? You recall that during COVID, nobody could go to church.
Yes.
Then we told everybody that, look, even don't forsake, it can happen online, come to church online. And we made everybody feel like online is accepted before God and it was okay. And everybody was going to church online. And then after COVID, we managed to get people back into the church. Do we now tell them again that online is not enough? Or where do we start from?
What the command from?
You know, where do we start from? So, whether we like it or not, I'm a futurist. So, like today at the program with Rand Merchant Bank, we're talking about the future. We call it Smart Think Summit Conference. Think Summit, actually. And we're just talking about the future. And part of what I said to them is, what we're doing now, is luxury in the future. Mm-hmm. In the future, this is tourism. Mm. Because you can't see each other. You're going to have to make it to talk to your cousin physically.
You have to be intentional.
You have to succeed.
Wow.
To be able to afford to travel to see your cousin and touch him like this. Because it's going to be a borderless future. And most things will be happening virtually and remotely. Right? So the future doesn't have too much of human contact. It's not who we are, but it's what we're going to struggle with, because technology will give us our best experiences without human contact. The burden of privatization is the idea that the human soul can have its greatest misery or richest bliss alone without human contact. So on your phone, you can laugh to death without seeing anybody. Privacy can be public now. Public can be private. You can be in your room and be talking to 10,000 people. So what is private is not relative. Because the bedroom is supposed to be a private place. But in that bedroom, you can be having an IG life and 500 people are with you. So public has changed, private has changed. It's a different world, different software we're dealing with. And what we have to understand is that we have to be contemporary. Part of what has happened to so many ideas is they are growing physically, but their ideas are stuck in the past. So we have to grow. Part of why I love the Christian faith is its ability to innovate, and to grow with modernization. Right? So in the future, every Sunday church, just like in the future, universities are bungalows with servers. That's a university in the future. bundles with servers. People are not going to keep going to school like this. You are going to be very rich to go to school and be taught by a lecturer. It's going to be happening in your bedroom, right? So in the same way, church in the future is probably, pop-up service once a month, and the remaining 3 services are happening online or twice a month kind of thing. In the future, very few people will be able to afford to go to church every Sunday. It's not going to be that they didn't want to go. It has become, movement becomes expensive in the future.
Proximity becomes a luxury.
Yeah. Proximity, access are very expensive things in the future. Yeah. So whether we like it or not, online is the front door to ministry and church, or to anything in the future. Offline is back door. Online is the front door. Whether you sell shoes, or you have a talk show, or you are a medical doctor, you run a hospital, or you run a church, or you are a poet, or you're a fashion designer, it doesn't matter what you do. Online is the front door to any idea, today and in the future. Offline is back door.
Yeah, that's Mom, it's fine, okay, Mom. I am still saved, okay, even if it's online. Well, on that note, I just want to thank you both very much. You have brought very, very deep and profound insights, which I'm sure many of us are going to be thinking about after we watch this. Do you have a personal, spiritual, or religious experience that has anchored you at home or abroad? Do you have any opinions to share about what we have talked about thus far? And also, do you have any topics that you would like to add into the mix? Feel free to comment below, like and subscribe. And thank you once again for watching the Uncolored podcast with Venita. Mwah, and shout out Red Lantern.